So it happened again. I did an emergency live that very same night, right after it happened. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to post it. For some reason, it just kept on quote unquote waiting because that was the status this whole night. And unfortunately, it was never posted. So I ended up having to delete it. Some of the people came in, actually saw the live. Unfortunately, it wasn't any of the nut ballers. But, you know, I said what needed to be said in there. And, it's like just after that incident, you know, it's just been a very devastating moment, which is, you know, what's even more devastating with that is with this next gathering that is supposed to happen next weekend. You know, some of these guys were supposed to be coming with me, or I had invited them, but unfortunately, just this incident just happened to just right out of nowhere, just happened at the wrong time. And I'm gonna explain the reason behind this, because I did not address it right after that happened. Obviously, I was totally out of it, but it just needs to be said because I didn't say it right after, and I usually don't, you know, I don't usually say so much on here to my fellow audience of friends who are sub to this channel, especially the non not bother fans. So I'm gonna address it here as to what happened, because I really have not talked to anyone since that entire incident. I call it part two of the group text incident. Now, to me, before I even explain my part, to me, this one, although it was bad, it wasn't to the extent that the first one was. If I had to compare between the first and second, the first one was definitely way worse. It was way worse if you think about it. Just dropping a bunch of F-bombs and pointing out a bunch of names, right? So that to me, to this day, was still worse than this one. Now, I did point out a couple of names, but after that, it's like I wasn't really pointing at every single one in comparison to the first group text incident. So I just thought I'd get that out there in terms of comparing between part one and part two of the infamous group text incident. And yes, unfortunately, it happened on the same one that the first group text incident happened. So, you know, but I do want to get to this explanation because I did not address it like right after, and this happened, late on Friday night, going all the way into a little bit of Saturday where I still was not myself medically. So I really hate to to say so many details here, like in terms of my personal life, but in this very video right here, I'm just gonna say it for the sake of what what um what my friends need to know. I'm specifically regarding the nutballers. So whoever is seeing this, then they're gonna know. They're gonna know the reason behind this, and it is a medical reason. So I talked to my psych. I'm talking about my psychiatrist, and about what happened last Friday. And basically, prior to this incident, you know, she had upgraded my you know my my dosage on the this one medicine that I'm taking, and it went 10 mg higher, right? So it went from 10 to 20. So I was taking the one with 20 on it just to see if it was going to do better as far as, like, ensuring the effect of me feeling calm and less angry, even just not stressed at all, or just lessening the stress in general. And here's what happened: the first 2 weeks were okay. When I took it, I didn't really feel much, but here's what happened lately, and I'm talking about the past week. I was starting to feel pretty tired. These last few days, I was feeling pretty tired. And what's more evident was yesterday, and it wasn't just yesterday, even on Tuesday, I felt my head throbbing on Tuesday afternoon, and I was sweating uncontrollably for whatever reason, because I was doing so much activity in the house, just trying to get some chores done and all. And all of a sudden, I was sweating uncontrollably. I understand it's been extremely humid these past couple of weeks. 60% is considered uncomfortable. I hate to say it. So that can be a cause for some weird reactions to your system. And unfortunately for me, and what I'm about to explain here is last Friday. So I woke up. I had a hard time waking up. I had to force myself to stay awake, and knowing that I wanted to go back to sleep when I couldn't, because I know I had to work that day. So I did that, prepared, went to work, right? And I seemed fine at first. But later in the day, my head was starting to throb, right? And here's the part where it gets worse. So my head was throbbing a bit. I was sweating a little. The AC was working, fortunately. Imagine if the AC still was not working, like it was the last couple of weeks. I can only imagine how worse I would feel. So after that, I came home, my head throbbing again, and I took Tylenol. I was okay, right? And then, obviously I was doing a lot in the house. I know what it is with my home dilemma and all, and I was doing so much, and obviously some stress vibes, and that's when my head started to throb a little bit more, and I was starting to feel really tired, like I really wanted to sleep, and I know I couldn't. So my head was starting to throb a little bit more, and before you know it, when I finally needed to walk out, that was when I made it happen. Yes, I made it happen. Again, I made part 2 of the group text incident happen, unfortunately. And then after that, like, I took Tylenol again, and then I fell asleep okay. And I woke up, I was feeling tired again, and I stopped taking what I was prescribed. And it's already been 2 days, as today is Sunday. So, yeah, as I talked to my the psychiatrist yesterday about what happened, she told me that because I've been taking my meds at different times, and here's an example. Last week, one of the days I took you know, my my med my med my medication. It was like at 8 o'clock, and then Next day I was taking it at like 7ish. And then next day it was like at 9ish. And then the next day after that was like around 7ish. So because of those inconsistent times, um, it's probably what's made my system react this way, or most particularly my head. So I learned that I had to have a really consistent time, especially because the dosage is higher. That I need to keep it to where I'm consistently taking it at this very same time or around the same time. And I've done that with the first one, but the second one, because it is 10 higher, then that's exactly what has caused me to feel what I felt last Friday. So yeah, I'll admit it, that was my fault right there for the inconsistency of timing that I'm taking that thing. And you know, it is what it is after what happened. And I know I shouldn't have gotten to it. It was my actions that got in the way, but it just happened. So, like I said, I have not talked to anyone since that happened, and I did see some really upsetting reactions to that. Just about a couple, you know, but you know, um, it is what it is. After that happened, I can't walk it back. So it is what it is. It's just been a very devastating time, especially considering it was the wrong time, and some plans may change as far as like what's happening next weekend. But you know, I was gonna give it a day. I'm talking about today, um, since it just happened like on Friday. So I'm gonna give it till tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to work things out the best that I could, because I know it happened. And look, I did talk to my therapist about you know basically just I didn't really tell him what exactly happened, but I told him as far as like how I've been feeling, the stress and all that. And you know he said it would be the best idea to just be in therapeutic groups. He's gonna assign me to one. Uh, just sometime this week. I'm gonna see how that works. So, and look, I know I've been, you know, I just got this reason out of the way. I just thought I needed to address it. Anyone that's seeing this, I'm sure that, you know, I'm sure some of the guys like Neil and and uh, and Mari and Robbie are seeing this. I said what I said. Now, again, I have not talked to anyone. So whatever happens, I mean, this just happened, and I thought I'd get the reason behind it out of the way, just for anyone that's seeing this and thought I might have done it on purpose. Look, it happened, but because of how I've been feeling, this is just more of a medical reason. Hasn't happened, so you know. And unfortunately, it's my fault that I had the inconsistent timing of what I'm taking. But it's a lesson learned for me in that I don't want to deal with this inconsistent timing again. And who knows when this will actually take effect. And I'm talking about proper effect, because on the first one, I've been told 8 to 12 weeks, but I didn't feel. It was only my 5th week, and then I finished that entire thing. And now I've been upgraded to 10 more. And, since after 2 weeks, I don't know. I really don't know. It, with these two dilemmas I'm dealing with, one I do have control over, the other one I don't. It's, who knows if it'll ever take effect. But I'm gonna say this, man, and I've said it a number of times, even in that 3-part video that I made way back in March, toward the end of March. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to reinstate this very point for anyone, especially some of my nutballer friends who are watching this, because I have totally proven myself right after I said what I said. So I'm going to say it once more, that, you know, I've been on the record that, you know, while I was out of my friend circle then, that that once I get a new job and when I come back, all these guys are going to see a much better version of me. I know Carlos alluded to it. He told Mari about it, and Carlos wants to see a stronger version of me, you know, just knowing that I would never do this again, right? Now, where I will reinstate the part is where I proved myself right, in that if I was to come back and I'm still working in this dump, which I still am to this very day, I can hold myself accountable. I can admit to all these guys about my wrongdoings, which I did, right? I admitted to all of the guys in the group chat, you know, as I came back in June, of all my wrongdoings, this and that. And the guys in there, including Nathan, Julio, at that time, Abbas, they were all patient with me. They said, you know, take all the time you want. And, you know, we believe in you, and that, you know, and that, well, you know, they said that I can take as much time as I want, you know. Take your time, man. Yeah. So even when I brought Russ and Dewey back, they said, you know, hey, I gotta take my time, you know what I'm saying? And in that very same month, I was, you know, well, even before June, I hung out with Neil, and then I hung out with Julio in the beginning of June. So, you know, and I hung out with Neil again at the end of June, right? And this month it was Russ, and that in my shoot around game where I finally beat him in his home court, and then it was Abbas and Neil, who I'm seeing for the first time. So I said that, and you know, as I said it in my 3-part video, like I said, if I was to come back to my friend circle, and especially just mingling with the guys, or just my friends in general, despite the fact that I'm still in this dump, you know, like I said, I can admit all my wrongdoings to these guys, and it still does not change the fact that I'm still feeling the same old feelings I've been feeling every single day in that dump. Feelings of misery, feelings of unhappiness. Hell, I told you all this, man. When I came back in June, knowing I was still there, they still saw this version of me leading up to this second group text incident. Okay? They still saw the worst of me, despite what I said and what I admitted to them. I get it. They all told me, take your time, you know, we're all here for you. Now look what happened. You know, I've been on the record, as I said, I'd rather, and I mean I'd rather, that none of these guys hear from me, so that they have their peace, you know, as far as like the, you know, just for their safety and my safety, you know, for their well-being and my well-being, especially for my mental health, right? I'd rather that they not hear from me than to hear from me, like as I come back, knowing that the same results are going to happen. Look what happened the last several Saturdays. Look what happened. The the short beef between the boss and Carlos, then the short beef between Dewey and the boss, man. Whose fault do you think that is? Obviously, that was me. Now I know per my phone conversation with Dewey, it was not directly my fault because Dewey asked the boss for a favor, but how do you think a boss reacted that way? I understand a boss defended me of what Carlos said about me, but it wasn't like I but I made a boss perceive the other guys that way based on my endless beast mode rants. So look, man, I like getting back to the point that I made in my older and that 3-part video from last March. I said it, man. I told you I'd rather they not hear from me than for them to hear from me, to where they're still seeing the same out of me. And I hate to say it, man, because if I do this again, I know how they're gonna perceive me because they had this one more chance towards me, and I'm dead serious when I say this. So, and look what I just saw last night. You know, I've been told everyone's fed up with me. Now, again, I have not talked to anyone at all today since that whole incident. But I just thought I'd drop this video for the sake of the reason behind that group text incident that I caused, and that was the medical reason. I know this video is going to be super long, and I just thought I'd address it. So, that being said, it's going to be hard for all of us to recover from this since it happened the second time. So I didn't really lose sleep over it, but still, I mean, it's going to be hard to recover from this. And I know, like, just after what I saw last night, so a couple reactions have just been really, really upsetting, very concerning. And I know one of them is it's painful enough that it's even affecting what's going to be happening the next weekend. And I really got to settle that because that friend is just part of that whole gathering, and I got to fix it, Yeah, it's going to be tough to recover from this. And I know it's hard to really gain my focus this morning, but for the most part, I'm able to stay focused throughout the day. But I'm going to do everything I can to just settle this. I'm not, I know I've been on the record when I said that this group is gonna break up immediately after they still see me like this at my worst, and that I would have done something, that is very much like the group text incident, or just even worse. Fortunately, this one is not as worse as the first group text incident, but still, it's bad enough that because it happened the second time, that it's now to a point where these guys have trust issues on me. And I mean, I don't know for that to be necessarily true, but it's gonna feel that way right after this happened. Now, I don't know for what I've been told that all these guys are fed up with me to be true, but I mean, I have to find out. Like I said, I have not reached out to anyone after this whole group text incident, the second part. So we'll have to see. I don't want to spend too long on this. I know it's been it's been pretty much a weekend just filled with more drama, and I know I'm the one that caused it, and but I already gave the medical reason behind it, so I'm gonna have to work things out fast here. because the next gathering is going to be coming up this coming weekend, and I better quickly settle my differences, or else, I mean, at least I have a couple going for sure. But as for the other couple, it's yeah, I gotta settle my differences fast with those guys, because you know it's like I look. This group is never gonna break up. I know some things are gonna happen in the month of August coming up. I know July's ending. Look, what I did, yes, it was from what I felt on Friday, and I want to talk to everyone about it. And I thought about doing like a multi phone conference with every single one. Hopefully I can make that happen, especially since I want to involve two others who are also affected by the second group text incident. So, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but when I want to get a little bit more into it, then you know, I think tomorrow will do. As I go back to my dump, unfortunately. Oh my God. I'm sorry, dude. My dump is just the center core of all these issues that I've just been coming across, and the longer I'm there, I'm on the record, the more bad things happen to me, and I just could not be any more right. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all have a nice rest of your weekend, and peace out.